same passage. So from next week, we will start from Exodus. As you know, whose story is Exodus? Which one is the main character in Exodus? Great prophet. Who? Moses. Yes, Moses. Moses is the main character. And have you watched the Prince of Egypt? Raise your hand. Yes. He. So I know that you know about something or everything about him, but for the sermon, I will explain the background of today's passage. Today's passage is Exodus chapter 3, verse 1 to 7. The Israelites had been suffered in the guardian of Egyptians. Joseph, who was the prime minister of Egypt, at that time, Israelites lived in good condition. They have rights to tell something about their situation. They can claim, they can express their opinion. But as time goes on, the population of Israelites grow up. So the Egyptians were afraid of their power because more the population grows up, more their power also strengthens. So the status of Israelites had been degraded from citizen to slave. So I believe you know what slave means. They are not even human. They are treated as stuff. They can be sold and they have no rights. They are even less than animals. So during that time, they had been crying to God, to Egyptians, to their neighbors. But about 400 years, they had no answers from anyone. So even more, if they have a boy baby, the male baby, they have to abandon them. They have no right to raise their child if they were old. Because Egyptians want to destroy whole Israelites. At that time, one child was born, whose name is Moses. When he was born, sadly, their parents had to abandon him, according to the rules in Egypt. So, thankfully, a princess of Egypt adopted him, and they raised him as a prince of Egypt. So Moses was raised with good condition, good life condition, such as well-educated, maybe handsome, maybe had a great power to rule over the Egyptians. So because he was a prince, right? He was a royal family. He had everything, I believe. But at that time, Moses saw the sin that his covenant, the Israelites was suffered. was picked on by Egyptian soldiers. So he helped, but too much help, he killed the Egyptians. So he fled from Egypt to Median wilderness. So today's passage has that context. Moses, who had everything, the prince of Egypt, was fled from Egypt, and he was in the wilderness of Midian. So now we will dig in more deeply today's passage. Look at verse 1. Follow me and read together, okay? Verse 1. Now, read with me. Read together, okay? 시작. Now Moses was shepherding the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the far side of the hill and came to the mountain of God to pray. Yeah, we had different versions. It doesn't matter. So, just imagine. According to the verse 1, he had a job, right? He was a shepherd, right? And maybe, not maybe, he must have his wife because he had a father-in-law, right? So he had a family. He had a job, he had a family, and from verse 1, he just followed his regular life routine. He fed their flocks, and he made them drink, and he led them to the grass, right? So, in that sense, he just had a normal life, as we have, right? You students go to school. You had a family. Maybe you have a job. Just you had a great normal life. But imagine what Moses had. He was a prince, right? He had a great authority and power, but he lost everything. Just he followed regular life routine, and he grew up older than older. So at this time, his age was 80. But even that old age, he had no his fortune. He belongs to his father-in-law, so his flock did not belong to him. All flocks belong to his father-in-law, right? So he had nothing. So just imagine. Yeah, I believe he was in the suffering. And he grows older and older without any hope to proceed his life to improve, right? So his condition had been, I believe, bad, hopeless, right? Powerless. So he was depressed. And interestingly, the term, so in verse 1, the term far side of desert. In Hebrew, this means west side of desert. So just thinking, in Genesis, the term to describe heaven is what? So Adam and Eve were in there. What? Where is it? Where was it? Where was it? The Garden of what? Eden. So the term to designate to Garden of Eden is the east side of heaven, right? East side. East side means the God's heaven, God's place. But the term to the far side of desert means west side, the opposite side of Eden. Opposite side of God's heaven. Which means, this implies he fled from not only from Egyptians, his hometown, his covenant, but also he fled from God's presence. The term expresses this. So his spiritual, psychological, physical, every side of his situation had been collapsed. Yeah. So this verse means something, right? If you have a good, regular, no problem life, but you also had a collapsed situation. Yeah, so we always are cautious about this. Should be, I believe. So, and proceed. Next verse. And that time, verse 2, the angel of the Lord appeared to him with a flame of fire from within a bush. The term, the angel of the Lord, angel of the Lord means interchangeable with God's name itself in Hebrew. So God himself appeared to him visually. With what from? The burning fire within a bush. It's just supernatural, right? It's hard to believe, right? God did that. God has a very various method to reveal himself, but he shows him by the form of flaming fire within a bush. From that verse, I was pondering, why? Why did he reveal himself by this form? Have you ever thought? You don't have to. Yeah, I will explain. Just imagine. You know already the visual form of God himself. Who? God already revealed himself by the human flesh. Who is him? Huh? Who? Yes. Jesus is God himself, right? He was incarnated to human form, right? Human could see who he is by their sight. As the same, he revealed himself with the visual form and flaming fire. What could you imagine? When you saw the fire, 불을 볼 때, 여러분, 불을 볼 때 어떤 게 생각나? 불을 봤어. 어때? 뜨겁고, 또, what? 위험하고, 또, what else? Fire. When you saw the fire, what do you feel? Energy, passion, pain. Right? 뜨거워, pain. 뜨거워, itch. So Jesus, the God is Himself, with passion, pain, energy, or what scene can you imagine? What image? I don't know. Cross. I believe the burning flame of fire within a bush implies the cross of Jesus Christ. This implies His crucified life, I believe. So the message of gospel revealed to Moses what his response. Of course, he had not thought anything about the God's presence, the gospel. But whatever, he came to the flaming of fire, right? He approached subconsciously. Maybe he need the turning point. He don't want to live by the boring lifestyle. He want to live by the supernatural, vivid, the life, energetic life. He approached. He was captured by this energetic form of God's presence. And that time, from the burning fire, the voice comes up. Moses, Moses. So this is very unusual and unnatural sin. So 그러니까 보세요. At that time, the Moses response is this: "Here I am, Lord. Here I'm here." So that's the first thing God demands His people when He called to His people. When He called to His people with any form of His voice, God wants us to respond positively. That's the first thing He wants. And second point는 뭐냐면은 verse 4, I read. When the Lord saw that he had turned aside to look, God called to him from within a bush and said, "Moses, Moses." And Moses said, "Here I am, here I am." God said, "Do not approach any closer. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." So, first thing we should say, "Here I am, Lord," and you can come to Him by yourself, but before that, you should be separate from your current situation. So, in biblical term, be holy. Be holy means you should be distinguished from the worldly your situation. So when you come to the Lord, you should forget every single situation you confronted. You don't have to. Just forget everything. Just when you come to the Lord, just think about you and the Lord Himself. That's it. You don't have to think anything. Just you and the Lord. That's what it means, the holy. Okay? Be holy. Take off your sandals. Take off your thoughts. Take off your current situation you met. You don't have to think. That's the second thing He wants. Be holy. And third thing God grants us is to give his vision. After he reveals who he is, God grants us the great vision he had. Look at verse 6. He added, I'm the God of your father, the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. And verse 7, the Lord said, I'm surely seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt. I have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. So he wants to communicate with Moses by saying he is the God of his ancestors. From the ancient, think of the Middle East, all children belongs to their ancestors. So when God said he is the God of his ancestor, it means he is the God of you, God of Moses. So you can trust me, he said, right? And also he gives the vision. I know they're suffering. Please go to them and save them by my power. So that's his final message. So I want to sum up this sermon. Just one thing. In verse 1, the term Horeb, the mountain of God, was not that means. It meant in the past that the dry. It was used to designate the region comprehending the immense range of lofty, desolate, and barren hills. But in the Horeb, when Moses met with God and God's word came on to that ground, it became the mountain of God. So, what situation you confronted in this time? When you met with Him, when you accept His presence in your spirit, you can become the mountain of God. You can be called. Okay? So that's my